I want to go to David Tawil. Interesting having him on because this man can single-handedly move markets, particularly when it comes to Bitcoin. David is among those saying this run-up that has gotten us in and out of that $100,000 a coin level. He sees it going to $250,000. What I didn't understand was he sees it happening by the end of next year, if I got that right. David, good to have you. That's a fairly bullish call, but you're probably right. At these levels, it would effectively be a doubling from where we are right now, a little bit more than that. And of course, we've had that and then some this year.
Yeah, I think that we've only begun to see the positive catalysts that are coming. I mean, clearly from Donald Trump's picks within his cabinet and supportive roles, there are really crypto mindful people that have been supportive, between Scott Bessent and Paul Atkins and now David Sachs, who will be the AI crypto czar. You have some really sharp, really successful, really pro-crypto people in and around the administration. On top of that, you've got a Congress that is controlled by Republicans that has already seen a bill that will establish a strategic reserve of Bitcoin for the U.S. government. Whether that gets passed or whether that goes forward, it doesn't matter. There are other countries around the world like Brazil, Poland, Russia, the state of Pennsylvania, who are also all considering strategic Bitcoin reserves, as are corporations around the country. And so this is a scarce asset, and I think that people, inclusive of the biggest investors around the world, sovereign wealth funds and nation states, will start to buy this and will have a difficult time keeping the price low, and therefore demand is going to totally outstrip supply.
You know, I've likened Bitcoin's rise, and you're far more sophisticated about this, David, than I'll ever be, to the end of treating Bitcoin as if it were Rodney Dangerfield. It could get no respect. It gets respect now, and established institutions, as you said, a number of state and national governments are acquiring this, building up reserves of this. A crowd that used to sort of poo-poo anything having to do with this so-called rogue currency, now embracing it and building it. And I'm wondering when that reality hits that you got to get on board and other countries realize, well, we've got to build more of this stuff too. Or is it a drip process? Because even when we first had ETFs available to trade this stuff, it didn't have an immediate impact. But I would imagine this has a cumulative impact.
I'll tell you, Neil, there is a report out this week that an unnamed pension fund in the UK has put 3% of their assets under management into Bitcoin. And they are unnamed for a reason. I think, A, they may look to increase their position, and B, frankly, for good reasons, they want to remain unknown for now. I think that there is a lot of accumulation that has started, or certainly education that has started by institutions around the world that are starting to add Bitcoin to their portfolio. But certainly there's a long ways to go from zero to wherever the level is that they want to get to satisfy their allocation.
But you do see, I'm jumping on you, David, just to put a button on this. You do see it going to $250,000 a coin by the end of this year. There are others who are saying, and I don't believe they put it in a time frame here, but that it can get to $1 million. There's a guy who was on the wires talking about $2 million. Where are you in the long-term direction of this?
I really don't know. Frankly, for me, it's too far out to say what this is going to look like 5 years from now.
Okay.
I mean, even Jay Powell the other day, who was not a particularly strong supporter of crypto at any point in time, has now said that Bitcoin is more like gold.
Yeah, I think that led to you're right. I think that led to this latest blast off, because you talk about someone who had just skewed this whole thing and said, no, to like it, it's a gold, to look at it as a haven. I mean, you were off to the races from that moment.
Incredible. And by the way, we're only talking about one aspect of the entire cryptocurrency market, right? This is Bitcoin that is simply a store of value, although some may go ahead and disagree as to the functionality, but there are lots of other cryptocurrencies that have functionality far beyond, just storing value.
No,
they
you're
get
right.
into complex dealings.
Good point. And David, you were ahead of a lot of folks on this, so touche to that. We'll see what happens. David Tawil, the Prochain Capital president.